club. Big shout out to Kobbie there.
I want to understand what's going on here with Kobbie because it isn't his application, it isn't that he's a bad footballer. So what is it? I look at Amron and
I'll go as far as it'd be criminal to let someone like Kobbie Mainoo go. And I'll even go one further. If that happens, the tide will turn, in my opinion.
Hello and welcome back to Inside Devils Talk Sports Man United show, keeping you bang up to date with everything going on inside and out the club and of course on the pitch. Now we've got to get into it because it has been the second game of the season. Loads of optimism after a defeat to Arsenal, loads of positives taken from a defeat to Arsenal, and it was a trip to Craven Cottage. That's where we had to look to next to say, okay, we're going to take the positives from that Arsenal game and go forward with it and score goals and win the game. Here to discuss what's happened in that game, Talk Sports Angelina Kelly and of course Ryan Statman Douglas. Welcome in, guys. Ryan, we drew the game, but it felt like a loss. Or actually, is that fair to say?
Yeah, no, I feel like it felt more negative than the loss to Arsenal, didn't it? There was something that I think there was a level of expectation. That performance, it's the most positive reaction to a loss against Arsenal I've ever seen. Honestly, it really was. And I could understand it, don't get me wrong, that it was night and day compared to some performances last season. But yeah, that Fulham first 15 minutes, oh, here we go. We're ready, we're cooking, we're back. Cunha could have had a bloody hat-trick in the first, 15. And then it just, the same old problems just kept creeping in, didn't it? And it felt like a real sucker punch. I mean, the goal, I was speaking to my mate before the game. I said, we'll probably score today, but it'll probably be from a defender or something like that. That just feels like the vibe right now. So it was, it felt like a bit of a gut punch. However, I'm trying not to catastrophise. It is still a point, and we did lose that first game as opposed to getting a point in this second game. So I'm trying not to be too negative about that performance, but it's difficult.
And there has been a lot of negativity in the aftermath of that performance and the result. Have you found it to be too much, or do you think it's justified? And when I say negativity, it's negativity. What I'm referring to is about the manager, his tactic, his principles. Oh, this is the same as last year. Not to mention Kobbie Mainoo getting overlooked. That's been a massive topic. I'm sure we'll go into that. But having encompassed all of that, is the negativity justified, or is it more like what Ryan's saying, it's the second game of the season?
It's kind of 50-50 because I understand people's frustration, and there is no more of kind of a sure thing for Man United than going to Fulham in recent history. Like that should have been a tap-in. So I think in that sense I get why people are frustrated. I think some of Ruben Amorim's comments are a little bit strange. Like, what was it he said? We scored the goal and then we forgot how to play.
Yeah.
They were thinking, let's hold on to the advantage and try. What was it? He said, we want to win so badly, and that's a good feeling that we scored the goal, and everyone on the pitch was thinking, let's hold on to the advantage and try to win the game. But surely, like, you're the coach, you should be telling them, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, surely is there not a game plan? Like, they forgot how to play. I mean, again, English isn't his first language. Communication sometimes isn't always easy. But I thought that was a little bit strange, and that he keeps going back to this. Oh, we've been working really hard. I do question how many times we're going to hear we've been working hard, and how long we can use that, because the professional footballers, the professional athletes, they should be working hard. But I do also co-sign the feeling of it is the second game of the season. A lot of people, I think, had this been his second game in charge, I don't think that there'd be this much hype around it. I think that because we've had months and months of this, and that there are a lot of stats around it, and how many games he's actually been able to win and things like that, I just think it's a lot, and I think that we do need to give it a little bit of time. I think it just seems to be the case that Ruben Amorim is very good in Europe, which we're not in, playing against sides that you expect to be relegated, and kind of like the top couple of teams like Arsenal, City, Liverpool, everyone in between like 7th and 17th. It's just an absolute nightmare for some reason. But yeah, I get why people are frustrated about the situation. It is early days.
It is early. I don't know. I think the problem that we've got, as you touched on it there, right, is that this isn't his first two games.
Yeah.
We have to remember that. And I think what is happening a lot in the fan base, a lot of the fans I've been speaking to and engaging with, both online and in person, is there seems to be this sort of power shift amongst fans of one set saying this is a new season, give him time, etc. And the other half say, hold on a minute, no, when you finish 15th and what happened last year happened, we don't get to this season and act like it never happened, especially when you're seeing some of the same traits as a continuation from that. And for me, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing some traits from last year which aren't gone yet, and that is a concern for me. On top of some of the decisions that he's making.
Yeah, in game,
not making sense.
Yeah.
Before the game and the starting lineups, etc.
Yeah.
Some of it's not adding up, right?
No, it isn't. I agree. Some of the in-game tactics. Well, let's just strip it all back. I mean, you talk about the same traits that are poking through and the negatives that are poking through. They all point to it's either the system or it's decisions Amarin's making. I think there's a lot of fall guys. Yeah, both. It's both. That's what I mean. And look, we can individualise players. We can do that. And there is a lot of fall guys. I mean, Bruno has taken so much stick. I understand some of it, but he's taken loads of stick. Obviously, it's a magnifier when it's Manchester United. It's always amplified. But really, the only person we can look at as an individual and say you've not been good enough is Amarin. He's the only person really out of everyone where we can say that because he's taken us backwards. Now, I'm backing him. Okay, I don't know what camera I'm looking at.
Well, it's just a fact though.
But that is a fact. Yeah, we have gone backwards. And so I'm concerned. I'm concerned about a few things. Like you said, I mean, sometimes he's refreshingly honest, and I like him as a manager.
I think one of the main reasons that some of these bandits miss is to identify that the players, the defenders, for example, didn't play well. Press together. That's why even Kobbie and the Fulham manager was able to say that, we knew how they are going to set up, and so we put some players in between the defenders and the midfielders. Like we saw with Tottenham, they pushed their defenders up, right? Van der Ven was pressing the goalkeeper. That's pressing in the right way.
As a person, and he stayed back and he signed everything for the fans, when I was at Old Trafford, and he's a good bloke, definitely, and he's refreshingly honest in his conferences, but like you said there, Ash, that's a bit too honest for my liking. You're the manager, sort it out. If they forgot how to play, that is something that you need to be doing. That's not something that we want to be doing.
But he was talking like he wasn't in control of his players, being like, oh yeah, and they were just trying to hold on to the lead. But you're on the touchline, you should be saying to them, no, let's go forward. But then I think the subs that he's making, this obsession with bringing centre-backs in, what kind of message is that sending? And I thought it was interesting, because he made subs like, 4 or 5 minutes into the second half?
Yeah, 50th minute.
I don't know if that was a tactical situation of he literally said, you've got 5 minutes here.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite interesting. I guess Casemiro was on a yellow as well, which does make a difference. But I do agree, I think some of these in-game decisions that he's making, you are questioning.
It's also like the way he's building the squad, right? Because I've had to take a step back. So I'm really excited by the signings we've made. But I've been questioning what the actual thinking is and how it's going to transpire on the pitch. Because what our manager has done is brought in 2 brand new number 10s, who we're happy to see, on top of a bunch of number 10s we already have. Bruno Fernandes, Kobbie Mainoo in this system, supposedly. Mason Mount, Ahmad, who's now converted into right wing back, but essentially play right 10. So that's like 5, 6 number 10s that we have. Then he's taken our best and most effective player, Bruno Fernandes, and placed him in midfield, and then told one of our brightest prospects in Kobbie Mainoo that you are now competing with a place, his words, not mine. Kobbie Mainoo is competing with a place in this team with Bruno Fernandes.
Someone who's undroppable.
Someone who's undroppable, someone who's the captain. And when you say undroppable, let's be honest, Bruno played a 2 out of 10 and should have probably come off the pitch. Now, when does Bruno Fernandes ever come off the pitch? Probably towards the end of Eric Ten Hag's tenure when he started getting a few substitutes. That's a bit different.
But should have been hooked earlier.
So you're telling Kobbie Mainoo that I don't fancy you over Bruno, this isn't even his position. I don't fancy you over Mason Mount, because when he took off Casemiro, put Mason Mount back one into central midfield, let's not forget. So I don't fancy you over him. Then he brings on Ugarte. Again, he doesn't do anything apart from nearly get booked. So if you're Kobbie Mainoo, and also the rest of the United squad, you're thinking, well, our midfield is toast. You 2, which if you're going to do that, you need some hell of centre midfielders inside there.
Yeah.
And now, like you said, Bruno Fernandes now all of a sudden, which I knew this would happen. He's going to become the scapegoat, because what you've done is you've extenuated all of his weaknesses, all of his deficiencies, and put them on blast, and taken away sort of his superpowers, which is creating, which is goals, which is influencing the game at the top end of the pitch.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem, right?
It's a massive problem. We're talking about someone who's in the 50-50 club with the likes of Cookies here, of Cantona and Scholes and Giggs and Rooney and all this. Someone who's, no one's created more chances than him since he's walked through the door in the whole of the Premier League. This is a machine. When Mbeumo and Cunha and Mount are all on the field, make no mistake about it, Bruno's better than all of them in the 10. He's the best 10 in the league. So, and we knew this problem was going to happen with Bruno, but I just had this faith in Amrin that he had a fix for it. Do you know what I mean? That look, you're clearly gonna drop Bruno a little bit deeper, but you've got some kind of solution there.
Yeah.
That
We haven't.
We haven't. And look, and it's only 2 games into the season, and I have to say, virtually word for word, I agree with everything you've said just there. The only thing that we can take solace in is it's only 2 games in, and Kobbie, there's still room for him to come in. Let's be honest. Against Burnley,
There's reports saying that he potentially wants to leave, or would look at his future. Are you surprised by that? Or do you see why?
It makes me feel sad. I think with the Bruno Fernandes situation, he's not a box-to-box midfielder. So you're asking him to play in a position where he's not comfortable. Now, him partnered up with, 25-year-old Casemiro, amazing, but what is he, 30, 33? I look at these signings that have been made and I question, A, what was going on behind the scenes with these links to Bruno exiting, and B, is this a bit of a succession plan? I mean, he's not in the retirement home yet, he's 31
Do you think
in September.
Do you think we should have cashed in on Bruno for £100 million when he got to Scotland?
I think had I known the signings that we were going to make, I think it's definitely a discussion, because if, I get what you're saying that he's, one of the best number 10s in the league, but he's 31 years of age, and how long do we go where we don't have succession plans at Manchester United? You're bringing in 2 younger players who overperformed their XGs last season. They were absolutely brilliant, Mbeumo and Cunha. You have Ahmad, you have Mason Mount as well. The way that I'm looking, and this isn't because I want Bruno Fernandes to go, because I think he's a brilliant captain, he's a great player. But when I'm looking at how this is being set up, they should have got rid of him. Because if you're not going to play him in one of them number 10 positions, you're hindering the growth of a young player in Kobbie Mainoo by playing him because he's your captain and because he is a good player. I question the recruitment that we've done, because it does look like it was a succession plan. So was it as clear cut as we all think that Bruno didn't want out? Were there more discussions? I don't know, but I think with the Kobbie Mainoo thing, I have to look at Amrin. We're giving him time and everything, but why is he sidelining all of our young talent? And it's really bugging me. You think of that picture of Mainoo, Garnacho, Højlund, sat there posing, smiling. They were a part of a lot of campaigns and shoots and stuff like that. Fair enough, Garnacho, it's not working. Højlund, he's not been able to get the best out of him. But Kobbie as well, I don't think when Amrin came in, was he sat there with Ineos being like, oh yeah, no, all your young talent, they're no good. There was clearly some conversation. So, he should be a good enough coach. Fair enough if Garnacho hasn't worked, fair enough if Højlund hasn't worked. But he should be a good enough coach to get someone like Kobbie Mainoo into that system. I think that he should be able to. We've seen that certain players can adapt. I think that somebody like Mainoo should be a priority. And like you say, he's not going to displace Bruno Fernandes.
No, he's not. No, because nobody does. I
think he could leave. I do think he could.
we're gonna get into the Kobbie situation very shortly in more depth. Back to the Fulham game, to be fair.
Oh, guys, thank you for watching along with me, or listening along with me. Leave a comment. What do you think? Do you think Kobbie will be leaving? Because I don't think so. I don't think that's a solution. I think it's still early days, right? There's so many games, especially even today. So thanks a lot for watching. Like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment below. Thank you.